Have you ever wondered what happens to a narcissist after they have discarded you and moved on? They may have left with a sense of triumph, believing they have secured a better future, a more successful partner, or a more fulfilling life. The world may even see their new position as a victory, a stepping stone to greater things. They may have found someone with more wealth, more status, or a more polished reputation, and you may have been left to pick up the pieces, questioning your own worth. But what if the story does not end there? What if the very person they abandoned is the one they can never truly escape? The one whose memory becomes a constant, haunting presence, not because of what they did, but because of what the narcissist did to them. This is a story of divine justice, of a choice that seemed like an upgrade, but was actually the start of a quiet, internal torment. The narcissist's victory was an illusion, and the person they left behind holds the key to their undoing. Before we begin this journey, it is a blessing to know from which part of the world you are watching and at what hour of the day God has guided you to this message. Truly, it is a joy to witness how the Lord gathers hearts from every corner of the earth, uniting them in one spirit and in one truth. The narcissist is not moving on with the freedom they believe they have. The victory they celebrate is hollow. They are haunted by you, by the person they walked away from. This is not a haunting caused by your actions. You have done nothing to provoke it. Instead, it is a torment that comes from within their own soul. God says in Proverbs chapter 28, verse 1, "The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion." The narcissist flees a memory, a reality, an unshakable truth that they mishandled a divine assignment. They are haunted because their soul knows it turned its back on something pure, something real, for a counterfeit. Their new world may seem shiny and new, but it is built on a foundation of sand, and the memory of what they discarded is the constant wind that threatens to blow it all away. A narcissist's greatest fear is being exposed, and the one person who knew their truth, the person they left, is the one they must constantly justify leaving. They cannot escape the truth of your spirit, your character, and your resilience. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 13, "The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble." The narcissist is snared by their own deceitful words, by the lies they told themselves and others to justify their actions. Their new life may appear to be a paradise, but it is a prison of their own making, a place where they are constantly pursued by the ghost of their own conscience, a conscience that you, in your quiet strength, have awakened. The haunting is spiritual. It is the spiritual rot inside them that is being illuminated by the purity and light they abandoned. The person they left behind is a living testament to what they could have had: peace, genuine connection, and a blessed life. Instead, they chose chaos and illusion. The Bible tells us in John chapter 3, verse 19, "And this is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil." The narcissist chose darkness, and now they are forced to live with the consequences of that choice. The light they rejected, the light you represent, shines from a distance, highlighting every flaw and every crack in their new fragile reality. They may have convinced themselves they have won, but they are living in a shadow cast by their own terrible decision. The narcissist cannot escape the reflection of themselves in the mirror of your righteousness. They see you thriving, not because you are trying to make them jealous, but because God is elevating you. God says in Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19, "When the enemy comes in like a flood, The Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him. The narcissist brought a flood of turmoil, but the Spirit is lifting you up, creating a standard of peace and prosperity that they cannot replicate. This is a powerful spiritual haunting. They are not tormented by your pain, but by your peace. They are not bothered by your struggle, but by your quiet strength. They are not disturbed by your weakness, but by your powerful rising spirit. The constant question in their mind is, why are they not broken? Why are they not suffering? Why are they living the life I thought I was getting? But this haunting is only the beginning. It is the first sign that the very foundation of their new life is unstable. The narcissist's choice was a spiritual one, even if they did not realize it. They stood at a crossroads, faced with two distinct paths. On one side, there was the genuine connection they had with you, a bond that was rooted in character, truth, and mutual respect. This path represented peace, authenticity, and a slow, steady building of a life of substance. It was not flashy, nor was it loud. God says in Micah chapter 6 verse 8, "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God?" The path with you was one of humility and justice, of a mercy that sees value beyond the material world. It was a path that required spiritual maturity, a depth of character that the narcissist simply did not possess. They saw it not as a blessing, but as a limitation. On the other side of the crossroads lay a different world entirely. This was a world of glitter and illusion, of surface-level validation and temporary satisfaction. This world promised a shortcut to status and success, a way to bypass the hard work of building a genuine life. They saw someone else, perhaps with a bigger house, a more impressive career, or a more prestigious social circle. To the narcissist, this was an upgrade. It was a trade they believed would give them everything they desired. The Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 16 verse 26, "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" The narcissist looked at your soul and found it lacking in worldly currency, and so they traded it for what they thought was the whole world. They turned their back on real love to chase the illusion of status and the comfort of wealth, believing these things would fill the void in their spirit. They made a fatal mistake. They judged a person's worth not by their heart, their faith, or their character, but by their possessions. This was a divine test, and they failed it spectacularly. God says in 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7, "But the Lord said to Samuel, Do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." The narcissist judged by the outward appearance, and in doing so, they showed their own heart. They revealed that their values were rooted in the temporary things of this world, not in the eternal truths of the Spirit. They believed the lie that outward success equates to inner fulfillment, and they walked away from a genuine blessing to pursue a false one. This choice was not just a rejection of you. It was a rejection of the path God had laid out for them. It was a choice to turn from light and walk into darkness, from truth and into deception. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 21 verse 6, "The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor, a snare of death." The narcissist's new life, built on lies and a deceitful tongue, is nothing more than a fleeting vapor. They may have a new partner and a new reputation, but it is all a temporary facade. The peace they seek will never be found in these things because their soul is still tied to the spiritual assignment they mishandled. They are still tethered to the righteous person they left behind, and that connection is the very thing that is now beginning to unravel their new life. This is the great irony of their decision. What they gained is not real, but what they lost was. And now, the very things they valued most are starting to slip through their fingers like sand. The narcissist believed they had executed a brilliant strategic move. They looked at your life and saw only a future without worldly fanfare. They saw a quiet existence, a lack of material flashiness, and concluded that they were destined for something bigger and better. They did not see the spiritual richness, the peace that surpasses all understanding, or the favor that was quietly building around you. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, "But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him. Nor can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned." The narcissist is a natural man. They cannot see or understand the things of the Spirit. They look at a humble beginning and cannot see the divine purpose. They look at a gentle spirit and cannot see the powerful hand of God at work. This failure of spiritual discernment was their biggest mistake. They thought they were living an impoverished life, but they were actually living a blessed life. They were leaving the person who was being prepared for greatness, not by human means, but by divine design. God says in Psalm chapter 37, verse 23, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way." Your steps were ordered by the Lord, and the narcissist was a part of that journey for a time, perhaps as a test or as a lesson. But they did not delight in your way. They did not see the hand of God on your life. They saw only what they could get from you, and when they decided you could not give them more, they left. Their lack of vision was their own downfall. They walked away from a foundation of righteousness to build on a foundation of shifting sand. The narcissist's new life, while it may look impressive from the outside, is built on a lie. It is built on the lie that they are more important, more successful, and more deserving than you. But the truth is, the very person they left is the one whose life is truly being blessed. God says in 1 John chapter 4, verse 1, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God. Because many false prophets have gone out into the world." The narcissist is a false prophet of their own life. They speak words of greatness and success, but their spirit is one of deceit and emptiness. The new life they have created for themselves is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion. They may have a new car, a new house, and a new partner, but they do not have peace. They do not have joy. They do not have the genuine connection they so desperately crave. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 7, "The memory of the righteous is a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot." The narcissist's memory of you is not rotting. It is a blessing that they cannot get rid of. It is a constant reminder of the spiritual richness they gave up. Your memory is a haunting because it is a blessing they rejected. They thought they were leaving you to rot, but it is their own name, their own reputation, their own life that is slowly beginning to fall apart. The very things they value are now becoming their downfall. The wealth they sought is a trap. The status they craved is a cage. The reputation they built is a house of cards. The new partner they found is not a blessing, but a reflection of their own spiritual poverty. What they thought was a triumph is now turning into a slow, quiet, spiritual defeat. The life they abandoned is now becoming a beautiful, unshakable monument to your faithfulness and to the powerful work of a just and loving God. The narcissist's new life, built on a foundation of greed and deception, is not as stable as it appears. They may have gained a new partner and a new reputation, but they have also gained a heavy burden. They are not at peace. They are in a constant state of comparison, always looking over their shoulder, wondering if their new partner will ever be as good as they think they are. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 21 verse 2, "Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts." The narcissist's way seems right to them. They believe they have made the best possible choice for their life. But God is weighing their heart, and their new life is a reflection of that heart's emptiness. The very things they sought after, money, status, and power, are now becoming a source of their own distress. What they believed was an upgrade is now proving to be a downgrade. The new relationship, which seemed so perfect on the surface, is built on a shallow foundation of material gain and social status. There is no genuine love there, no spiritual connection, no true understanding. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 1, "Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal." The narcissist's life is a noisy, empty echo chamber. They may have the appearance of success, but without love, it is just a hollow sound. They have traded a life of substance for a life of noise, and the silence of their own soul is now deafening. The prosperity they were promised by this new union is also beginning to fail. God says in Proverbs chapter 13 verse 11, "Wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labor will increase." The narcissist's new wealth was not gained by true labor, but by deceit. They used you, and they used their new partner for their own gain. And now, that wealth is diminishing. It may not be a sudden loss, but a slow, quiet, spiritual draining. Their investments may fail, their businesses may falter, and their financial security may begin to unravel. The new partner they chose may also be a drain on their resources, a person who is just as focused on material gain as the narcissist is. This is a powerful form of spiritual justice. The very thing they valued more than a pure heart is now becoming a source of their downfall. The narcissist's life is a house of cards. They have spent so long building a perfect facade that they have neglected the foundation. God says in Matthew chapter 7 verse 26, "But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand." The narcissist built their new life on the sand of illusion, greed, and superficiality. They may have convinced themselves that they are on solid ground, but the storms are coming. The storm of their own conscience, the storm of their unfulfilled spirit, and the storm of a just and righteous God. And when that storm hits, their house will fall. The new relationship will crumble, the financial security will disappear, and their polished reputation will be shattered. They believed they were escaping a spiritual life, but they were actually walking into a spiritual trap. The great reversal has already begun. While their world is quietly collapsing, your life is being rebuilt into something more powerful and more beautiful than they could ever imagine. The narcissist's greatest failure was their inability to see that what they left behind was actually being blessed. They looked at your life and saw nothing but what they perceived as lack. They saw the quiet and assumed it was emptiness. They saw the humility and assumed it was weakness. They could not comprehend that a life not focused on worldly gain could be profoundly rich and spiritually abundant. God says in Psalm chapter 92 verse 12, "The righteous shall flourish like a palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon." You, the righteous person, are flourishing. You are growing in ways that the narcissist cannot see, and they are now seeing the fruits of that growth from a distance. Your peace is your success. Your quiet joy is your victory. Your healing is your triumph. The narcissist is now watching from their new, supposedly perfect life, and they cannot understand why they are so miserable while you are so peaceful. They have all the things they thought they wanted, but they do not have what truly matters. They may have a new partner, but they do not have a genuine connection. They may have a new house, but they do not have a home. They may have new possessions, but they do not have peace of mind. God says in Luke chapter 12 verse 15, "And he said to them, Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses." The narcissist was covetous, and their life is now a testament to that truth. They are surrounded by things that are supposed to bring them joy, but they are more miserable than ever before. The absence of a spiritual foundation means that nothing they have can truly satisfy them. What the narcissist does not know is that while they were busy building a house on sand, God was building you up on a rock. God says in Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." God is making a new thing in your life. Where there was once a wilderness of pain and a desert of confusion, He is now creating a road and a river. The narcissist may have left you in a place that felt desolate, but God is using that very place to bring forth new life and abundance. Your healing journey is not just a process of recovery. It is a spiritual transformation. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true purpose. The narcissist left you for someone they thought was a better fit for their ego, but you were being prepared for a future that is truly blessed. This is the great reversal. The person who was abandoned is now being elevated. The person who was mocked is now being honored. The person who was left in what was thought to be a lesser position is now rising to a place of true power and influence. The narcissist's victory was a mirage, and their current situation is a mirage turning into a spiritual desert. They believed they were leaving you behind, but in reality, they were simply clearing a path for a better, more blessed future for you. Their rejection was not the end. It was the beginning of your greatest breakthrough. And the powerful forces of heaven are now at work, turning their victory into your triumph and their joy into your sorrow. The narcissist's victory was a fragile illusion built on the pride of their heart. They thought they had won by leaving you for someone with more worldly success. They believed they had secured their happiness and elevated their status. But what they did not know is that their victory was also their spiritual curse. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Their pride led them to believe they were too good for you, too important for a life of quiet grace, and this very pride is now leading to their destruction. The new life they so eagerly chose is not a reward, but a trap. It is a cage of their own making, a spiritual prison where their supposed triumph is now their constant, quiet torment. The very things they found so attractive in their new life are now becoming a source of their own unhappiness. They may have found someone with more money, but that person may also be just as controlling and manipulative as the narcissist is. They may have found someone with more status, but that person may be even more narcissistic, leaving the original narcissist feeling devalued and insignificant. They are now dealing with a taste of their own medicine. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 26 verse 27, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it rolled back on him." The narcissist dug a pit of deceit and manipulation for you, and now they are the one who is falling into it. They rolled a stone of pain and rejection, and now that same stone is rolling back, bringing its full weight down on their own life. This is the divine judgment that they did not see coming. They thought they were the judge, the one who could decide who was worthy of their time and who was not. They saw themselves as the one who held the power. But God is the true judge, and He is now turning the tables. God says in Psalm chapter 7 verse 11, "God is a just judge, and God is angry with the wicked every day." They are experiencing a slow, quiet, spiritual punishment for the way they treated you and for the way they rejected the blessing they had. They are living a life that looks good on the surface but is filled with a constant, gnawing emptiness. Their new relationship is not a source of comfort, but a source of stress and anxiety. The money they have is not bringing them joy, but fear of losing it. The status they have is not bringing them peace, but the pressure to maintain a perfect facade. The greatest irony is that the life they thought they were escaping is the one they now secretly long for. The peace they saw in you, the quiet strength, the genuine connection, they realized they traded it for a life of chaos and emptiness. The Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 57 verse 20, "But the wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt." The narcissist's new life is a troubled sea, constantly churning with conflict and unease. They cannot rest. They cannot find peace. They may try to distract themselves with new possessions, new travels, and new people, but they cannot escape the mire and dirt of their own soul. The victory they celebrated is now a bitter pill, a constant reminder that they made the worst possible choice, and this is just the beginning of their spiritual reckoning. The ghost of your righteousness will continue to haunt them until their facade finally shatters. The narcissist's greatest torment is the memory of you, not because you were a negative presence, but because you were the opposite. You were a spiritual mirror they did not want to look into. When they were with you, they were forced to see the contrast between their own darkness and your light. The Bible tells us in James chapter 1 verse 23, "For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was." The narcissist observed their own spiritual face while with you, and they did not like what they saw. They were a hearer of truth through your actions and your character, but they were not a doer. They walked away and have tried desperately to forget what kind of person they are, but they cannot. Your life, your character, and your resilience are a living testament to the truth they rejected. They may have moved on, but your light follows them. It is the light that reveals their new life to be a lie. It is the light that exposes the emptiness of their new relationships. It is the light that shines on the spiritual poverty of their new possessions. They are haunted because you are the embodiment of everything they rejected for worldly gain. God says in John chapter 1 verse 5, "And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it." The narcissist is in darkness, and they do not comprehend your light. They do not understand your peace. They do not understand your joy. They cannot grasp how you could be so content without the things they so desperately crave. The narcissist cannot escape the reflection of themselves in the mirror of your righteousness. They see you thriving, not because you are trying to make them jealous, but because God is elevating you. God says in Isaiah chapter 59 verse 19, "When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him." The narcissist brought a flood of turmoil, but the Spirit is lifting you up, creating a standard of peace and prosperity that they cannot replicate. This is a powerful spiritual haunting. They are not tormented by your pain, but by your peace. They are not bothered by your struggle, but by your quiet strength. They are not disturbed by your weakness, but by your powerful, rising spirit. The constant question in their mind is, why are they not broken? Why are they not suffering? Why are they living the life I thought I was getting? The narcissist is slowly being suffocated by their own deceit. They cannot show their true selves to their new partner because that person is a reflection of their own shallowness. They cannot be genuine with their new friends because those relationships are built on a foundation of lies. They are a prisoner of their own making, trapped in a perfect facade. They are constantly looking over their shoulder, terrified that you, the person who knew their truth, will reveal it to the world. But you do not have to do a thing. God says in Luke chapter 12 verse 2, "For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known." The truth about the narcissist will be revealed not by your hand, but by God's. Their facade is already beginning to crack, and the real person they have hidden will soon be brought to light. This is the beginning of their spiritual reckoning, a reckoning they cannot escape. The polished facade they so carefully built is about to be shattered. The narcissist's greatest fear is the exposure of their true self, and the very foundation of their perfect life is now cracking. They have built an elaborate facade, a persona crafted to gain admiration and envy. Their life is a stage, and they are the lead actor, constantly performing for an audience. But the constant effort required to maintain this performance is exhausting, and the mask they wear is becoming too heavy to hold. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 23, verse 27, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which indeed appear beautiful outwardly, but inside are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness." The narcissist is a whitewashed tomb. They have a beautiful outward appearance, a life that seems so perfect, but inside they are filled with spiritual death and uncleanness. The cracks in their facade are not obvious to the casual observer, but they are there. They may appear as small inconsistencies in their stories, moments of uncharacteristic rage, or subtle displays of insecurity. They may be found in the nervous way they talk about you, the person they left behind. Their new partner may begin to notice the emotional instability, the constant need for validation, and the lack of genuine empathy. The mask is slipping. The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 6 verse 7, "Do not be deceived, God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap." The narcissist sowed seeds of deceit, manipulation, and cruelty, and now they are beginning to reap a harvest of spiritual instability and emotional decay. Their new life is not a blessing but a mirror of their own brokenness. The narcissist cannot be genuine with their new partner, because their new partner is a reflection of their own shallowness. They cannot share their fears or vulnerabilities because they have always hidden their true self. The relationship is a transaction, not a true connection. The narcissist gets the status and money they crave, and their new partner gets the perfect-looking partner they want for their own ego. But this arrangement is built on a lie, and lies cannot sustain a healthy relationship. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 19 verse 5, "A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who speaks lies will not escape." The narcissist is a false witness, a liar, and their punishment is not a physical one, but a spiritual one. Their heart is troubled. Their spirit is restless. They are constantly on guard, terrified that their new partner will discover the truth. They are living a life of constant fear. This is the great undoing of their carefully crafted persona. The very people they sought to impress are the ones who will eventually see the truth. The very partner they chose for their supposed worth is the one who will eventually see their spiritual poverty. The perfect life they built on sand is beginning to wash away, one grain at a time. The powerful forces of heaven are at work, turning their victory into a bitter defeat. They are about to face the truth they so desperately tried to hide. The narcissist's entire existence was a performance, a life lived for the approval of others. They were never building a genuine life. They were building a reputation. They valued appearance over character and public opinion over spiritual truth. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 29 verse 25, "The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord will be safe." The narcissist lived in the fear of man. Their every decision was based on what others would think, not on what was right. This fear was a snare that trapped them in a life of endless striving and spiritual emptiness. They thought they were pursuing greatness, but they were only running from their own insignificance. They have now found themselves in a new relationship and a new life that is just as shallow and performative as they are. This constant performance is not sustainable. God says in Psalm chapter 32 verse 3, "When I kept silent, my bones grew old through my groaning all the day long." The narcissist has kept silent about their true self, and their spirit is now groaning. The burden of maintaining a lie is physically and emotionally exhausting. They are becoming spiritually and emotionally old before their time. The mask they wear is not just a burden. It is a spiritual cage that is slowly suffocating their soul. They are surrounded by people who love the idea of them, not the reality, and this is a torment in itself. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 12 verse 25, "Anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad." The narcissist is filled with anxiety. They are constantly worried about being discovered, about being seen for who they truly are. This anxiety is a form of spiritual depression that they cannot escape. The audience for their performance is also starting to get tired of the show. The narcissist's new partner may have been initially impressed by their success and status, but they are now seeing the inconsistencies. The charm is wearing thin. The promises are going unfulfilled. The emotional neediness is becoming a drain. God says in Amos chapter 8 verse 5, making the ephah small and the shekel large, falsifying the balances by deceit. The narcissist has been falsifying the balances by deceit for their entire life. They have presented a false image of themselves, and the balance is now being made right. Their new partner may have chosen them for the wealth or the status, but they are now seeing the deceit that lies beneath the surface. The very thing that attracted them to the narcissist is now the thing that will repel them. Curtain on their performance is slowly falling. The perfect image they have worked so hard to create is beginning to crack and crumble. The new life they so eagerly chose is not a reward, but a mirror reflecting their own spiritual emptiness. They have traded a life of substance for a life of shadows, and they are now living in a world of their own making, a world that is not a home but a stage. The powerful forces of heaven are at work, turning their performance into a spiritual prison. The life they so carefully built is about to be exposed for the lie that it is. And while their world is falling apart, you are being prepared for a new life, a new beginning, a new kingdom. While the narcissist's world is a stage, your life is becoming a kingdom. They thought they had a clear victory by leaving you, but what they did not know is that they were actually opening the door for your divine elevation. The Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 12 verse 2, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. The narcissist thought they were making their own name great, but they are now watching as your name, your character, and your life are being blessed by God Himself. You are not a victim. You are a queen, a princess, an empress in the making. Your crown is not made of gold or jewels, but of peace, strength, and a spirit that has been refined by fire. The very pain they inflicted upon you was not meant to break you, but to polish you. The narcissist is now seeing the signs of your spiritual reign from a distance. They are seeing your quiet confidence, your unshakable peace, and your powerful sense of self-worth. They cannot understand how you could have all of this without the things they so desperately chase. God says in Psalm chapter 23 verse 5, You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. The narcissist is your enemy, and God is preparing a table for you right in their presence. They are watching you thrive, not because you are trying to make them jealous, but because God is a faithful and just God. Your cup is running over with blessings, with joy, and with a sense of purpose that the narcissist will never know. The new life that you are living is a testament to God's faithfulness. You have moved from a place of spiritual poverty to a place of spiritual abundance. You have moved from a place of emotional instability to a place of emotional peace. You have moved from a life of lack to a life of plenty. The Bible tells us in James chapter 4 verse 8, Draw near to God and He will draw near to you. You drew near to God in your pain, and He is now drawing near to you in your blessing. The narcissist drew away from God, and they are now experiencing the spiritual isolation that comes with that choice. They may have a new partner, but they are more alone than they have ever been. They may have a new reputation, but they are more spiritually empty than they have ever been. You are becoming a true queen, a leader, a person of influence. Not because of your money or your status, but because of your character and your faith. The narcissist left you because they could not see the crown you were destined to wear. They were so focused on the superficial that they missed the divine. And now they are watching from a distance as your kingdom rises. The spiritual empire they so desperately tried to build is a house of cards, while your spiritual kingdom is being built on a rock. You are not just surviving. You are thriving. You are not just recovering. You are conquering. Your story is not one of defeat, but one of divine victory. And this is just the beginning. The greatest blessing is yet to come. The arrival of a true king, a partner who will honor your crown, is just around the corner. The final stage of your elevation is the arrival of a true king, a partner who is not drawn to your worldly status, but to the beauty of your soul. The narcissist's new partner was chosen for what they could provide in terms of wealth and reputation. They were a transaction, a business deal for the ego. But God is preparing a partner for you who sees you as a true blessing, a gift, a divine assignment to be cherished. The Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, "And the Lord God said, It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him." The narcissist was not a true helper. They were not comparable to you. They were a spiritual liability. But a true king, a new partner, will be a helper who is worthy of you, a true reflection of God's love and grace. The arrival of this person is not an accident. It is a powerful spiritual redirection. The narcissist's rejection was not a sign of your unworthiness. It was a sign that you were being prepared for someone of a higher caliber, someone who is spiritually aligned with you. God says in Psalm chapter 37, verse 4, "Delight yourself also in the Lord, and He shall give you the desires of your heart." You have been delighting yourself in the Lord through your pain, and now He is giving you the desires of your heart. You desired a partner who was faithful, a partner who was kind, a partner who was worthy of your love. And God is now bringing that person into your life. The narcissist's new partner is a testament to their own spiritual poverty, but your new partner will be a testament to your spiritual wealth. Narcissist is now watching from a distance as you not only thrive, but as you find a new, powerful, and genuine connection. This new relationship is a spiritual torment for them. It is the final nail in the coffin of their illusion. They believed you were not worthy of a good partner, and now they are watching as you are blessed with a great one. The new partner is a reflection of your own spiritual growth. They are a sign that you have healed, that you have moved on, and that you are now living in your true purpose. The narcissist's new partner is a symbol of their past, a symbol of their greed and their shallowness. But your new partner is a symbol of your future, a symbol of your peace and your fulfillment. This new relationship is not just a blessing for you. It is a spiritual message to the narcissist. It is God saying, "You made a choice, and this is the consequence." They thought they were the main character, the one who held all the power. But they are now seeing that they were just a small part of your story, a small part that was meant to teach you a powerful lesson. The new partner is proof that your journey was not a waste, but a beautiful, spiritual test that you have passed with flying colors. The narcissist's greatest fear is being replaced, and you are not just being replaced, you are being elevated. The person who comes after you is not just a new partner, but a divine assignment. The person who comes after them will be nothing more than a new source of pain, but this is not the end of the story for the narcissist. The arrival of your new partner is the beginning of their final spiritual reckoning. The narcissist's haunting is a powerful spiritual message. It is proof that what they did to you was not a simple human choice, but a spiritual one. They are haunted because they rejected a blessing. They are tormented because they turned their back on a divine assignment. Their new life may look successful, but it is a constant reminder of the spiritual emptiness they now carry within their soul. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 11 verse 29, "For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. The blessing and the calling on your life are irrevocable." The narcissist tried to take you off your path, but they only served to launch you further down the road God had planned for you. Their rejection was not a sign of your unworthiness. It was a sign that you were destined for something better, something more, something sacred. The narcissist cannot escape the truth that your thriving is directly connected to their spiritual decline. They may have thought they were in control, but they are now a helpless witness to the powerful hand of God at work in your life. God says in Psalm chapter 18 verse 32, "It is God who arms me with strength and makes my way perfect." God is arming you with strength and making your way perfect. And the narcissist is watching this transformation from their place of spiritual decay. They cannot understand how you could be so strong without the things they so desperately need to feel worthy. They cannot understand how you could be so peaceful without the external validation they so desperately crave. Your peace is their torment. Your strength is their weakness. Your joy is their source of anxiety. This is the great reversal. The very thing that brought you pain is now being used to bring them spiritual discomfort. They thought they were a victor, but they are now a victim of their own spiritual choices. They are not tormented by you, but by their own conscience. They are not disturbed by your actions, but by the quiet power of your spirit. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 28 verse 1, "The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion." The narcissist is fleeing a ghost they cannot escape, a truth they cannot ignore. The righteous person is now bold, confident, and full of a power that comes from a place they can never touch. The haunting is a sign that they have been spiritually defeated, and you have been spiritually victorious. The powerful forces of heaven are at work, turning their past victory into a present defeat. The new life they so eagerly chose is a mirror reflecting their own spiritual decay. The new partner they chose is a reflection of their own emptiness. The new possessions they have are a sign of their spiritual poverty. The very things they thought would make them happy are now a source of their own unhappiness. The torment is proof that your healing is a spiritual message, a divine decree that says, you cannot play with God's children without consequences. And the narcissist is now living with those consequences. This is not the end of the story, but it is a powerful sign that your breakthrough is just around the corner. The rejection was not a punishment, but a preparation. The narcissist believed they were rejecting you, but they were actually redirecting you. The rejection was not a sign of your unworthiness. It was a powerful sign that God was closing one door to open a better one. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." The narcissist's plan for you was not good. It was not for peace. It was filled with chaos and evil. But God's plan for you, the one that was set in motion when they left, is a plan for peace, a plan for a future, and a plan for hope. Their rejection was not an accident. It was a divine redirection, a powerful correction that sent you back on the right path. The pain you experienced was not for nothing. It was a refining fire that was meant to burn away the things that were not meant for you. The narcissist was not meant for you. Their toxic influence, their deceitful ways, their spiritual emptiness, these were all things that needed to be burned away so that you could be prepared for the beautiful life that God had planned for you. The Bible tells us in 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 7 that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Your faith was tested by fire, and it is now shining like gold. The narcissist's rejection was not a defeat. It was a test of your faith, a test you have passed with flying colors. The narcissist cannot understand this. They cannot understand how a person could go through so much pain and come out stronger. They cannot understand how a person could be rejected and then be blessed. They are still living in a world where rejection means defeat and where pain means punishment. But you have entered a new world, a world where rejection means redirection and where pain means purpose. The narcissist's plan for you was to break you, but God's plan for you was to make you. The narcissist's rejection was a powerful spiritual redirection that led you to a place of greater peace, greater strength, and greater purpose. You are now living a life that is so much more beautiful than the one you would have had with them. This is the great turning point in your story. The rejection was not the end. It was the beginning. The pain was not a punishment. It was a preparation. The tears were not a sign of weakness. They were a sign of a heart that was being softened and prepared for a life of great purpose. The narcissist's plan was to leave you behind, but God's plan was to launch you forward. And you are now soaring, not because of your own strength, but because of the powerful hand of God. The rejection was the slingshot that launched you into your destiny. The breakthrough is just around the corner. The glory that follows the trial is about to be revealed in your life in a powerful way. The narcissist believed they were leaving you in a place of defeat, but they were actually preparing the way for your greatest breakthrough. The pain and the trial were not meant to break you, but to serve as the foundation for the glory that is about to be revealed in your life. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 8 verse 18, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." The sufferings you have endured are nothing compared to the glory that is coming. The narcissist's rejection was just a small, insignificant part of a much larger, more powerful plan. They thought they had the last word, but God is the one who has the final say. The breakthrough is not just a spiritual one. It is a physical and a tangible one. It is the new job, the new house, the new friends, and the new partner. It is the peace that you feel in your soul, the joy that you feel in your heart, and the strength that you feel in your spirit. It is a powerful, undeniable sign that God has not forgotten you, and that He is a faithful God who rewards those who walk in righteousness. The narcissist is watching from a distance, and they are seeing the undeniable proof of your breakthrough. They are seeing that the person they left behind is now living a life that they could only dream of. God says in Psalm chapter 37 verse 4, "Delight yourself also in the Lord, and He shall give you the desires of your heart." You delighted yourself in the Lord, and He is now giving you the desires of your heart. The narcissist's new life is not a life of glory. It is a life of spiritual poverty. They are in a place where they are constantly striving, constantly performing, and constantly searching for a satisfaction they will never find. Their life is a mirror of their own spiritual emptiness. The new partner they chose is not a source of comfort, but a source of stress and anxiety. The new possessions they have are not bringing them joy, but fear of losing it. Their life is a troubled sea, constantly churning with conflict and unease. They cannot rest. They cannot find peace. They may try to distract themselves with new travels and new people, but they cannot escape the truth of their own spiritual decay. The breakthrough in your life is a powerful spiritual message to the narcissist. It is God's way of saying, you made a choice, and this is the consequence. They thought they had the power, but they are now seeing that they were just a small part of a much larger, more beautiful story. The glory that is being revealed in your life is not a coincidence. It is a powerful sign that God is a just and a loving God. The rejection was not a punishment, but a preparation. The pain was not for nothing, but a powerful refining fire that was meant to prepare you for the beautiful life that God had planned for you. You are now living in a place of power, a place of peace, and a place of purpose. The narcissist's greatest victory was also their greatest mistake, and your greatest defeat was also your greatest victory. The final chapter is about to be revealed, and it is a powerful one. The journey has brought you from a place of great pain to a place of profound peace. The narcissist's rejection was not a final defeat, but a powerful redirection toward your true purpose. The suffering you experienced was not a punishment, but a preparation for a life of unprecedented blessings. And now, as the story winds down, you find yourself in a place of quiet, confident victory. There is no anger in your heart, no bitterness, no desire for revenge. There is only a deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing you are on the right path, a path that was ordered by a loving and just God. The Bible tells us in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You had faith in the unseen, and now you are seeing the substance of your hopes." The narcissist may still be living in a world of turmoil, but that is no longer your concern. You have been set free. You have been released from the bondage of their chaos and the prison of their deceit. Your heart is light, your spirit is free, and your future is bright. The life you have now is not just a reward. It is a testament to your resilience and your faithfulness. You have endured the fire, and you have come out as pure gold. The pain of the past has been transformed into a powerful testimony of God's grace and love. You are a living witness to the truth that a person can be rejected, abandoned, and broken, and still be made whole again. Your story is a beacon of hope for all those who have been left behind. The final, quiet act of this story is not about revenge. It is about redemption. It is not about proving the narcissist wrong. It is about proving yourself worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of a beautiful, blessed life. And you are now living it. The narcissist's greatest fear was that you would thrive, and you are thriving. Their greatest mistake was leaving you, and your greatest blessing was being left. The storm has passed, and you are standing on solid ground, ready for the next chapter of your incredible journey. God says in Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Your future is here. Your hope is real, and your peace is a gift from a loving God.